What's up, guys? My name is Nate with Academy FM, and for this video, we are going to be going over the very first basics that you need to know to start constructing your own drum beat in FL Studio 12. This little thing right here is called your channel rack, and if it's not showing up for you, what you do is you just go up to View and you click on Channel Rack. And this is somewhere that you can sequence your drum arrangement. And you can also just drag samples into your playlists, which is this thing right here. And we're gonna go over both. So to start, we'll work inside the channel rack. So when you open up the default FL Studio template, you have their 4 default samples here, which are not the greatest samples, so I would not ever recommend using them, but they're right here. So we're gonna go ahead and use them just to show you how you construct a little quick drum beat in the channel rack. So if you click this right here that lights up next to the kick, then what you'll notice is that when you hit play, the kick plays. And one quick thing that should be noted is this little loop button right here. When it's orange, that means it's going to be playing your pattern. And when it's not orange, it's gonna play what you have down here in the playlist, aka your song. So it's just something that is not explained very well, so it's just important to note that. So let's go ahead and construct a little beat here. Right here is your tempo. We're gonna move this right up to 150 beats per minute. And basically, you want just a basic 150 BPM halftime beat and have our kick. And then here is a clap. Super easy. And then we can also add some hats. So very basic, easy stuff there. And then if you want to have more space to work with in the channel rack, you can just click right here and drag. So we have an extra 4 bars here. And you'll notice they're not lit up. All you have to do to activate them is just click somewhere. And then to undo something, you just right click it. So we want to make this beat longer. We can just do that. So that's a pretty easy way to navigate through the channel rack here. Let's put in our own samples so we're not working with the FL Studio stock ones. Over here under packs is where you're gonna find all of your own samples. So we're gonna pull up some trap drums here. And in order to work with your own samples in the channel rack, you just drag them. And you wanna make sure that you drag them in this little gray area here, because if you drag it over something that's already here, it's just gonna replace it. So just go ahead and put it right there. And now we have this new sample in the channel rack. Go ahead and drag a snare in here too. And get some hats as well. Where are the hats? Symbols. Hats. So you can draw them in like this. Or you can also right click, and there's 3 easy little options here that you can fill up the step sequencer here. So I could do every 2, which is how I have it, or you can do every 4, you can do every 8. And then if you want more variation, what you can do is you can right click and hit piano roll, and then that brings up the piano roll here, which is where you have all the control over the MIDI. So we're gonna click our pen tool right here, which lets us drag the note around the piano roll to where we want to place our hi-hats. So we can do cool little variations inside the piano roll with the hi-hats just by adding you can play around with that a bunch. These little green lines here are each separate hat's note volume. So you'll notice that if I click this and just hold it down and then drag up, I can kind of do like a cool little, it glides up back to the original volume. And you can set these wherever you want. And if you want to copy the value of one of these, click here on that one, and then right click to get rid of this one, and click this one, and then it's the same level as that one. So that's with the pen tool that you drag around, and then if you have this paintbrush highlighted, then what happens is if you hold down your left click, you can drag around the notes wherever you want them. I myself find it a lot easier just to use the pen tool, but this is how you do that. If you want to delete things, you can right click and hold down that. Oh, you can't do that with the paintbrush. You need to have your pencil or pen tool highlighted, and you can hold down right click and just wave over them. Or you can hold Control and then left click and drag, and then you have everything here, and you can just press delete. And if you ever delete something and you want it back, it's as simple as hitting Control Z and it comes right back. That's how you navigate there through the piano roll. So now let's make a beat here in the playlist just by using audio files. And we do that by doing the same thing that we did with the channel rack, by dragging the samples in. So we'll go back to our pack here, find our kick, and drag it over here. So this is your playlist, and this is where you arrange pretty much your entire track or song. You have individual tracks here that you can place samples and MIDI arrangements. And unlike Ableton, in FL, it doesn't matter where you put something. It is going to have the same sound if it's the same sample on the same channel in your mixer. But that's something that we can get into later. For now, let's just arrange a simple drum beat. So we have our kick here. Go back and find our snare. Use this one this time. If you want to zoom in, you can just go up here to your slider bar, hold right here, and go like that. And get a more zoomed in look. And if you want to make this window bigger or smaller, you can do this. You can also just click there, and that'll make it full screen. I myself like to work with it in windowed mode because that's easier to navigate around to my other sections in the DAW. So let's highlight 4-bar loop here. I'm doing that by going to this right here, is where you can select a section of your playlist, and then that will just loop. So let's put this snare arrangement here. Realize I only did 3 bars. 4. We'll put our snare just like that. And you'll notice that here in the playlist, it's similar to the piano roll where we have our pen or pencil tool and then a paintbrush. Right now I'm just using the pencil tool, but the paintbrush is pretty cool because you can just drag a sample and it will paint it on right there onto the playlist. So get a cool little arrangement going here. Cool. So that's a basic kick and snare arrangement there. Now we can add some hi-hats. So we can do it like we did earlier in the channel rack with the piano roll, or we can just drag a hi-hat in to the playlist and arrange it down here. And you can do the same thing with the arrangement. You can make the sample bigger, well, I guess just smaller like this, just by dragging it. And then if you want it to be even smaller than that, what you do is you go up here to this little magnet tool. This is how you snap to grid. So you'll notice when I'm moving samples around, they're snapping right to the grid. But if we go up here, that's cell mode. Cell mode is snapping straight to the grid of the playlist. You can also go to none. And you have to be careful when you're on none because you can easily place samples that are out of tempo. Or not out of tempo, but just off beat. And it'll make your beat sound weird. But with this, I can place this anywhere. It's not snapping to anything. Or you can go down here and there's half step, third step, quarter step, sixth step. And what this means, I'm gonna go ahead and click half step. Go back over here to our hi-hats. And you can see that it's, as opposed to when it was on cell, I can't make it any smaller. But with half step, we can go to here. Quarter step, we can go like that. It's an easy way to make the sample smaller. So we'll go put it on half step. And then if you ever want to slice audio clip that you have in your playlist, you go right here, hold down your left click button, drag up like that. And then now we have a perfectly easy section of our hi-hat there that we can just drag and make a cool little pattern like that. So and then if we want to copy this little hat section and move it over here, just hold down Control. You can have pretty much anything selected up here. We have our paintbrush tool right now, but if you hold down Control, left click, you can highlight it and then keep holding Control, hit C, and then hit V. So now you'll notice that I just copied and pasted that hi-hat pattern right there, and it's all highlighted in red. So if we just grab those, drag them right over to there, now that pattern that we just made is also on these other two bars. So we can also easily make the hi-hat pattern change. You'll notice that this little section that I just did here with those hats and that quarter section here sounds pretty bad because it's cutting the transients off there, or it's just cutting. You'll see the sound stops before it gets a chance to finish. So let's say we wanted this quick little hi-hat chop section here. What you can do, take this, and an important thing to note is that if you're changing one sample, it's going to change all of the other samples that are in the playlist because this and this are exactly the same. But let's say I just wanted to change this one hi-hat. Just go right here, left click, and then make unique. Now this is its own sample and I can do whatever I want to it and it won't affect the rest of the hats. So right here, we can affect how quickly this kind of ducks out just by going down here to the out parameter. And you'll notice that when I move this up, you can kind of see the transients here. So can make it sound cleaner. And tighter. So that is the basics of getting your own beat set up here starting out. And next up, we're going to move on how to add some sounds to the beat that we're starting to make.